and turned me into such. All you granted me was lust, and what I seemed to have grown was lust. Are you displeased? Are you angry? My might and my angels' wings have been bruised and restrained. Those who break to blood are so fiends in vain. So believe in me and elect, I'm your leader today. Rise! So speak for me, little sister. Wanna leave you for another mister. Leave you in a pool of water. But what I did is my alma mater. dust and turned me into such. All you granted me was lust. And what I seemed to grow was rust. Are you displeased? Are you angry? Might and not angels' wings have been bruised every strain. Those who break to blood are so fiends in vain. So believe in me and collect. I'm your leader, dead. Rise!
made it this far. Congrats. So, what do we want to do first? Last bit of RP first. If you guys had any, really fine.
I suppose the last bit of RP would have just been anything in the remaining months of travel that we were thinking about doing, and then we said we would come back to the question, or not even months, but after the cleanup of the capital.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yep.
I'm already aware you guys be staying in the capital for all of you, most likely for a decent amount of time. I gotta pull something up real quick. There it is. So, I'll give you some rundown. This incident with the tower is going to collectively become known as the Heaven Tower incident. Just the tower incident across the world. So, there's a little bit of information right there for you. But, in general, probably the next 2 months, the Republic's going to spend time trying to get the capital repaired, considering a good quarter of the center part of the city has just been now a giant crater they need to fix. This is where mold earth becomes very useful.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine all of you wouldn't spend immediate, just a month in the capital. Probably going around doing your own shit. You're free people.
Pretty much. The captain probably relatively quickly after the Fairy Queen finally makes it to port, probably within the first 2 or 3 weeks, would make it known that she's planning to step down so that she can help the Republic rebuild in its time of need. So I guess at some point during all this, probably the crew would at least try and get a tavern fixed up enough to have a final going away.
Final. First thing to do, get that damn get fish and donuts operational again. Which, by the way, that tavern is still together. The back end's a little messed up, but you can fix it up.
It's held together with like duct tape and spit, bubble
Well, like
gum.
the part behind the counter,
Duct
like that,
tape and donuts.
the wall behind the counter's just gone because the tower is like right there on that edge. So like, you got an open tavern. But you can start drinking out of it.
Concept now.
It's an open floor concept.
The first of many.
First of many. But one thing I'll mention though is in the following days, the Dominion will arrive in the capital, but they'll be providing help. Because the Dominion at this point is going to start backing down. They have no reason now to go to war with the Republic. I mean, the Republic's no longer a threat to them at the moment. So there would be Dominion soldiers arriving, not like armed. At the most, they would have their swords for self-defense, but they'd be helping with any repairs they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'd be at most like maybe 6 ships at the most would arrive in port with some supplies. With Republic supplies.
Krodorm would also probably around similar time announce that he would also be stepping down. Whenever we get to another port after the capital, he'd probably go his separate way, but that's for whenever we leave again, pay passage and all of that. But he would also be stepping down for a prominent role on the ship to have it be filled by none other than Jimmy. No, I'm joking. Someone else.
Jimmy Gibbs.
Well, that would indicate that that if he so accepts it, Buckler would be the captain of the Fairy Queen.
Great. I gotta rewrite Buckler to a degree, but yes, you would take that up.
Guess we're in the tavern, yeah?
What'd you say?
Guess we're in the tavern then.
Yeah, in the tavern.
Yeah.
Aye.
You can find the posse of the Ube Poultry and Solana near you at the same table with all of you.
Yeah.
Most of your crew, all of your crew are here. You got Jimmy, you got, what was it, Dale, Orlok, Staden, all your NPCs, all your favorites. Of course, Slobber is also here along the board.
More so than any of them, it's Darren here.
I feel like that would be a bad idea.
Get this,
given
how
the
many-
combo.
Captain, in roll 20, roll me a d20.
Fuck.
There's only 2 in roll 20, which is fine. We're not. You can just look at the map.
A 16.
Darren is there. He's just chilling. He's not dressed like a demon, though. He's dressed casually.
Demon
In a
casual.
suit and tie.
Not a suit and tie. Dressed like a normal person. Darren was a normal person. Well, he was not normal. He was a fucking psychopath.
He
He was a
killed
psychopath.
people.
He was a mass murderer, so. The word normal does not apply to him. But, he dresses like a normal person. I had to catch myself right there.
Ah. It's a lot of cleanup we had to do. But I'm up for something new. What are you going to do, Captain? Or Unanoa? You gonna stay here with your family and whatnot?
For the time being, I'm going to help rebuild. I would like to relocate England and Andel to Witchwater and commission a teleportation circle to be constructed within the fort so that I may transfer myself between the 2 locations with relative ease. And so that if any of you happen to come across a teleportation circle, you can return and we can catch up.
How do I do that?
Ask. Don't hurt yourself, Krodorm.
Hurt myself doing what? I don't know how. A teleport. That thing you drew on the ship?
Yes.
I'll figure it out. Don't you worry.
If we were given enough time, I would like to install one on the boat itself. But it seems that will have to be done by someone else if it is indeed to happen.
Or Buckler.
Can you imagine how easy his life would be if there was a teleportation circle on the boat?
Yeah, it doesn't deal with half this shit.
Well, as fun as it's been, I think I've had my fill of patching holes in ships.
Aye, you'll have so much free time now. Just like old
I
times.
would. No. The city's reconstruction will need the skilled hand of an artificer, I'm certain. I'll imagine that'll keep me quite busy.
Aye. You've got to do what, the entirety of the undercloud, that grey lands around the every city. What happens when it's all returned to land? Do the cities come back down to the ground?
No, they'll stay in the air.
Maybe I'll be able to make it not as hot out there.
Yes, that would be ideal. But that'll be a matter for Zofia.
You know, if there's one thing that I'm gonna regret not being able to do, it's figuring out what the fuck that Naliki bastard is up to.
Cuts
Not
to
even.
us. Cuts to
Oh.
an orb.
Smash cut.
Just cuts to an orb with him overlooking it, Party
Pondering
all
the
the-
orb.
seeing all you in there, slowly, maniacally looking at it.
It was probably nothing important.
I'm sure the next band of misfits won't curse us for having to deal with it.
The bastard's been free for, God, half a year now? Nothing bad's happened that we can
200
trace back to him, so...
270 days?
It's over
You
half
say
a
that and
year.
the fucking Hammer of Dawn laser hits us.
Yeah.
Why are there
That's
a bunch of red lines coming directly towards us?
And that's for touching my shit.
Wow.
Fine.
Damn it.
At the very least, and the captain takes off her hat and puts it on the table. I don't need to wear the stupid hat anymore.
Stupid hat, Captain. That's your pride and joy right there.
Oh, I do love wearing the hat, but it can be a bit much at times. Do you know how much of a pain it is to find a feather that actually matches?
No. I don't. Nerdy. I was curious. Are you?
Yes.
Do you have any way to contact Mavis? I
Yes,
know the
do.
last time we were talking to her, she was going towards Valeria and Ardendem.
Mhm.
I was just curious where she was at. You know.
Well, if you want, I can call her up and see what she's doing.
Oh, you can call her up. Yeah, that works.
I'm assuming you want to do that right now?
Oh,
Or
I guess it can
later?
wait. My bad. Yeah, it can wait. And what about you say?
Say has like a Ellie once again like in her lap.
Mhm.
She's like, I'm probably gonna take a break for a while. I'd like to see most of her first. And then like probably gonna go find my mom. Like I'll
Okay.
probably stay on Witchwater till this one's weaned and then go deal with Lysana. Who you know, she prophesized this, but it's kind of I'm still kind of shell shocked that it actually happened.
Aye.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. So Witchwater will be a great place for
Yeah.
to
A big
hide out.
family.
I mean, hell, you know those blood hunters that we sent to tell that message. Maybe they died. You don't have to worry about it now.
Oh no. Like there is no hope of reconciliation. I'm gonna go kill her.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I was saying maybe the message never got to her.
Oh well. Here's my thing. Like our names are now attached to this clusterfuck, and words travels pretty fast. You know what I'm saying?
guess I could see it. Well, either way, I'm sure that won't be
It
easy
is
for you,
what
but
is.
you'll have to, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I don't know if oh, never mind. Well, yeah, I don't know how long I'll be, waiting to leave. Oh, shit. Hold on, pizza's done. Let me grab that quick.
Ooh,
He runs off to the kitchen.
they serve pizza now? Fish and donuts? Damn.
Yeah, we upgraded.
The up and floor concept has now allowed for a kitchen expansion.
Yes, they were able to get a brick oven installed.
Made out of the bricks from the Heaven Tower.
Well, that's not.
There's
I'm pretty sure that just disappeared.
50
Pretty much what ended up happening is the tower did disappear. It collapsed in on itself, and all the rubble from it went away. What's left is the rubble of the cities it tore, the buildings it tore apart, and it's summoning.
They have a brick oven now. The wall to the other bar down the street is gone, and they can't find the bricks.
Usually, you just look outside as a giant crater, about 100 feet deep.
Well, at least I got the guard post too.
Yeah. Fuck. You know what? I'm glad I'm going to Witchwater. This town has kind of gone to hell.
You could stay and help rebuild. Join law enforcement.
I could, but I think that's a little too that's a little too confining for me. It breaks my oath. I'm probably gonna start exploring the keys around Witchwater for a bit. Lots of shit there we didn't discover yet. But I think taking a year or two off so I can see her do all of her first milestones. She does this now, and Say puts her on the ground and she starts to crawl. She's not good at it. Not good at it. She face plants.
A doom day.
All right, I'm back with that goals.
Yeah, so she does that. That's pretty cool. And she talks now, which is inconvenient, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna be a good mom and watch her do everything that my mom didn't. That's the main priority. And then killing everyone. And for my old order would be nice. Well, freeing them, same thing, But I don't think this peace is gonna last for very long, though. So I'd prefer not to stick my name attached to either the Dominion, or the Republic, or the Sultanate, or the High Elves. Just a personal preference.
What about the other nations?
Just so you know, Witchwater is still apparently a part of the Republic. This could be a good time for us to make some records disappear. Make it an independent island.
I was thinking that. Wouldn't it be a shame if those records just went away and the island was paid off in full?
It's already paid off.
Independent island.
It would be very hard to change the territorial lines on the map, considering that they're based on both longitude and latitude.
That sounds like a bunch of work.
Sounds like no one's ever going to really check the small details of a tiny little island on this vast map.
I think, just with everything that's happened, I say independent is the best way to go. For when all of this uneasy peace breaks out and everyone most likely goes to war, then we can market and we can make a fine profit as an independent island with no ties to any of the countries. As a port. Just a little thought I had.
And the captain says, even though I'm not your captain anymore, you still find ways to give me headaches.
Yeah, pretty much.
Something will work. What are you gonna do about your other children, as you call them, your wards? Wards? Yeah, I think you used ward.
Oh.
What do you think they're at?
And a good world? Dead and peaceful with Saloon. I fucked those kids up. Like, I'm not... Third time's the charm. That's all I'm gonna say. I'd love to find them. I would love to find them. And I'm... Hopefully, once Ellie's a bit bigger and she can travel, we'll go try to find them. But I would imagine if they've made their way back to Lysana, and they will, if they will.
Perhaps
It's
they
not
won't,
gonna
and
quickly.
you
I
might
wish
see
for
them
them
again
to
on
be happy.
in fairer circumstances.
Actually,
Well,
I have a small side note. Everybody seems to, if you want to take some time, but like, in a year and a half, any of y'all ever want to go to that Nalaki ruin we found?
oh my god, yes. I would actually like to go back to Kalmir when she like motions to the kid who is now stuck to the wall.
Fucking spider child.
It's spider climbing the wall.
I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing at the time.
I'll be free.
Seems
I'm
like
not
a
doing a lot.
fascinating thing to do. But who knows?
Like,
I may be dead.
literally,
Probably not. I'll be fine.
Well, I mean, you're in Sienna's marks haven't reappeared, right?
Look at the hand.
Not there.
Thank God.
nice. Nah, I'll be fine.
Nope, not there.
If you ain't got that, then honestly, Krodorm, an archangel tried to kill you and couldn't do it, so I think you're fine.
Oh god, we killed angels and fuck.
Now, it's probably going to be a different story with, you and your infernal lady friends.
Alright, I haven't gotten that many yet.
Well, I mean,
Two are dead, or one is dead, one is probably back. Definitely back by now. One I'm on
If I
good
were
terms
you-
with. And there are what, 7 more? 6 more?
there's,
I don't remember.
let's say more than 5.
More than 5? Alright.
He's probably
I don't
knocking
know.
out a daughter a year, who knows? But like,
That would be a little crazy.
hey, sleep your way through them. Live your best life, Krodorm.
I'll figure out how to live some way, that's for sure.
If the plan is to resume your adventuring in a year, you might want to lay off the otherworldly bedtime.
It's whatever comes my way, Captain. Sort of.
Don't want to disappoint Mavis now, do you?
I can rub his eyes. Maybe.
If I can survive another 18 months of domestic quote-unquote bliss with Onken, I'm gonna need a fucking adventure.
Yeah, well,
He's got so much poetry written.
I wish you luck with that.
So
And
much
who knows?
erotic poetry.
He'll live it.
Oh
And
yeah,
who
no,
knows?
he'll be thrilled.
If Krodorm plays his cards right. And this is Unanoa not knowing how half-breeds completely work in this universe. Because whoever actually pays attention to that changelings, right? We'll say if you play your cards right, maybe Neridi will have some Dwelvish nieces and nephews by the end of the century.
With that,
Elvish.
Say pulls the leash that is now attached to Ellie, because she has now started to climb up the wall, just like yanks her back to the booth.
You know, half elves can be from near enough any race. So it would be odd, but I have a feeling times will be changing in Elven's land quite soon.
I mean, I plan on going back. Well,
I mean, not only times, but land itself.
Well, whenever I get back there, I can get the angels to come down from heaven. Because apparently only they can use the crown.
At least you didn't say, fuck you. You can't have this. I'm not letting you use it. And bye. At least she's coming back, supposedly.
Yes, that is indeed a boon. I would have liked to try to use it myself, though. Just wanted to see how it worked, honestly.
Just put your charm
And
on
I'm
her.
going to be completely honest. Her brother saying, you know, I'm not that level of a smith, that really hurt. That wounded my crafter's pride.
Oh,
God,
that was the reason. Okay.
that's gonna
Well,
keep you up at night, ain't it?
Oh, it has been.
have you figured out how to make it yet?
No. The only example I had to go off of, I saw it for a couple days before we slammed it in the chest of an angel.
We're elves. We got plenty of time.
Oh yes. All the time in the world.
Unanoa just gives Neridi a knowing look and shakes her head.
I mean, Krodorm, what? You got another 400 years?
Probably. I'm not really a math guy. I'm sure it'll
Same.
happen. Something, I've got time. Don't know
Dwarf's
how much,
probably
but
gonna kick the bucket here in about another 5 decades or so.
Sabor.
that is very unfortunate, thinking about it now, because, what? I suppose, how long do Dragonborn live for?
90, 100 years.
Oh,
I thought it was 60.
80 to
I
100.
think it's a lizard folk.
It's 80 to 100. Lizard folk are 60.
Okay, I'm thinking of the wrong race.
Well, I'm sure it'll fly by for him. He doesn't seem like he
I
has
mean,
too much in the realm of wants. Other than cooking, I'm sure he'll be fine. It's a shame he couldn't be here with us.
Honestly, I think after everything we've experienced this past, I'm just gonna say year, I could see him probably settling down on Witchwater, maybe staying here in the capital. I would assume Witchwater, open up a seaside restaurant. That seems to be what he would do.
only
Place where he can
pancakes, though.
fish and cook.
He might need to change out his menu options, which I think he's been
Yes.
doing. Good for him. I think it just took a little longer than we all
Oh.
were hoping for.
I
But-
mean, I did happen to pass by his room the other day, and I did see a recipe for fish flapjacks. That sounds horrible, but he's a good cook.
Ah,
God, his pancakes are fantastic.
Sounds like something they'd serve here.
But
What would you even call that? Fish flapjacks? It's so unappealing.
fish cakes, I imagine. Fish cakes.
But fish cakes are something else.
Yes, Captain. Oh, excuse me. Unanoa. And fish and donut sounds all that much better.
Look, you're not
like,
supposed to eat the fish and the donuts at the same time.
I don't know about you, but like I like salty and sweet.
It's an actual thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I am just gonna hang out here, explore a little bit, and then probably go back to Calmir either when I get knocked up again, or whenever like she starts to be like, oh, where I want to go back to Calmir. What do you mean I'm not a citizen of? Yeah.
First off, she was born there.
Yeah, I know. I got the paperwork.
What are the chuckle fucks doing in the bar right now? The other
Huh.
3 or 4, yeah, everyone else basically.
I'd say at this point that Bolter and Ube are in the midst of one of their many heated arguments. Which is because Ube doesn't like Bolter's idea. And they're basically arguing over it, and Solana is just enjoying the entire exchange of these two morons arguing. Otherwise, Korlak and Staten are actually one of the booths talking to each other. They seem to get relatively along very well. Lore is with them as well. Buckler is also is near Korlak and Staten, and occasionally exchange some words with them. Buckler's his own little posse of people, including Jimny, the great Jimny Gibbs. But overall, most of the crew are decently happy. I mean, they arrived too. There were still mop-up operations. So there were still demon and angel and Nephilim hideouts that were being quelled. So they did get their own fair share of action.
Any signs of Alexei?
Yes, he is here. He's enjoying his drinks. What's the other ones? I forgot about him. Yes, I did.
Guys, I have one final last act we have to do together.
Oh,
The last
no.
hurrah.
What is it?
What is it?
We need to get Alexei so drunk he actually speaks.
Let's get started.
Please don't.
He has spoken. What? Oh, wait.
I thought you were
guess-
gonna say something like Krodorm needs to actually steal a ship. I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, I did. Temporarily.
Yes, we never did make the stipulation you had to be out of the harbor, but
I think we are going to go into more detail, and then it just never happened. So I guess
you know,
I don't know.
we
It's
have
whatever.
all the time to plan a new heist, a proper heist.
Sure.
Besides, I'm certain if we go back, you two in particular would have like to get a little revenge on Captain Hawker.
I mean,
Yep.
maybe.
Fuck.
I mean, he could. Seems like an asshole. You know, definitely. Whatever the hell that thing in the water was, didn't like that. Wanted it to die. But, you know, I might not actively seek it out, especially now that I'm cured.
I mean, if we just so happen to be there, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Kick his ass. Take names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe we should end the night rightly, though.
We
With
getting
drinks.
drunk then? Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Remember your advantage on drinking.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yep.
I get advantage too.
we'll say
Why do
you
you
towards
have advantage?
where you guys do start drinking, you do see a familiar figure walk in, and that would be Phantom, who goes and sits by Boltree and hands him a few pieces of paperwork. Gee,
Looks like
I I give a subtle wave to Phantom. Like, hey, I thought you were dead.
No, you waving over just like a wave.
Just a wave. Acknowledgement.
She'll actually get up and walk over to you guys with a smile. Oh. Glad to see you all in one piece.
Yeah. A rather interesting day.
Who are you?
Ah, I never met you. Name's Phantom.
All right.
You know, we ended up going through the sewers through your establishment. Figured y'all had not done so well based on what we saw.
Most of us got... A good chunk of us got through our shadow way out of the time. Ones that stayed behind were the ones that, sadly, were the first to go.
Well,
But
we can always rebuild.
we're gonna be shutting down the operation in the capital for a while.
Well,
Actually, I'm heading up to the Dominion. I've got a position opened up there. So I'm heading up there. God, I'll be seeing you.
No, probably not. Unless you're either coming back here or heading down to the west on adventure.
A little journey to the west.
Journey to the west. One day. I'd like to see the Elven Lands one day, but I got plenty of time.
If you're free in 16 years, we can both go together.
At a specific time, but if
And Say just kind of like motions to that. Just
16
like
years. It's more like 40, 50 years before they're even allowed to stay at home alone.
she's gonna roll her eyes, put down a few gold. First round's on me. I gotta go though.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Until
you,
next
mysterious lady.
I'm not that mysterious.
Obviously, the more you talk, the less mysterious you are, yes.
She gives a little chuckle as she walks out. You can see Bolter kind of going over a few things, and he kind of points at it with Ube. And then you see Ube kind of nodding along. Are we doing a drinking game already?
Well, it wouldn't be drinking if they weren't trying a drinking game.
I will not be drinking myself. Stupid tonight.
Can you even get drunk anymore?
You can. I think there's a restriction on that. You guys can just be drinking, yeah. First couple rounds go through. Enjoying your night. Song and dance going through with some liquor. Some local entertainment, some bards too, singing some songs.
And then it can be, sure, we can say just later in the night, whenever Krodorm is rebounded from any drunkenness that he was afflicted by. Used to be like, we get drunk, and then you'll sober up again, and you'll find Neridi. If if we weren't staying at the same table, we kind of mingled about.
Okay.
Up, Krodorm.
All right. Well, we're all kind of
Ah, yes. You want to speak
still not to know.
next?
Yes, yeah, I might as well do it now, so that way I don't forget about it in the morning.
Sure.
How does this go into water? Obviously, we can't use the stone. Dragon stone.
Well, we could use a stone. The other way I have is the
Or does she have a dragon
ring
stone?
that I was given by my sister. Lets us communicate.
Oh. Alright. So what do I do? Just speak into it?
Pretty much.
Oh.
Oh, 1 second before you do, let me make sure it's not going to broadcast to Lenora. I imagine she'll be a little pissed about that.
Yes, Lenora doesn't want dwarvish nieces and nephews.
Alright, should be set. You can start whenever you want.
All right. Hey, Mavis. This is Krodorm. I was curious as to where you were at in the world at the moment. Kind of finished up our sort of adventuring and seamanship over here in the capital. A little bit of rebuilding. I was curious if you're fine with me coming along on your adventures.
So at first you
I
don't
seem to
get. At first you don't get an immediate response, but then you see as the ring on your end starts to glow slightly, and you hear a response going. It seems like there's like talking in the background. She's like, you hear Nasir going, "Yes, he just got a message. Answer the damn thing." And then her Maeve is kind of like mocking him. I'd imagine. Oh, good to hear from you, Krodorm. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Imagining my assistant gave this to you temporarily.
No, I'm right here.
Yep, just talking at her finger.
Well, then keep it civil. If you want to join me on the adventure, I'm all for that.
So are you still... Where are you at right now?
I'll be entering into the valley by the end of the week. If you would want, you should take one of the trains that go through the valley. Meet you that way.
If trains in the valley? What?
Oh, yes. The Dominion works very fast.
Oh my god, it has been a while.
Oh, I don't mean to butt in for too much. Mavis, you might want to make your way back home for too long. Probably the next few months or so. You're gonna want to be there.
Alright, I will do. Krodorm, why don't you make your way, whenever you get a dance, I'll wait for you at River Hall.
Yep, River Hole, yep. Forgotten where that was. I need a map.
I'll show you where it's at on the map later, Krodorm.
Alright, thank you.
Alright. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
Nope, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I'll see you when I see you.
Hopefully soon. I shall hang up.
Aye. Nice. That should be fun.
Yep, imagine, I'll see you in Calmir then.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I don't have my map on me, but, we can get that later.
Alright. Can do. Just to the night. And we'll continue rounding around, carousing.
Oh, speaking of Kalmir, Unanoa will remember because she doesn't actually drink. Something I've been meaning to bring up. If you happen to know of any teleportation circles, if you can give me the sigils, I can, once you get back, I will be able to go there whenever you need me.
There are definitely sigils. Damned if I remember them though. But when I go back, I can certainly commit them to memory long enough to let you know. But I believe my place is going to be here for a little while.
Well, just means I get to enjoy your company a little more. Although I have a feeling that you're going to be real busy with the carpentry. Oh, you know who can help with the carpentry? Looks to Krodorm. I
Doesn't
hear
even think
you're
you're
a
talking to
master
him.
carpenter.
Just drinking.
Well, you see, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because you know, artificers master everything. I imagine I'm going to be doing a lot of masonry soon.
Do you happen to know the cantrip Mold Earth?
I do not.
Hmm. 'Tis a shame. I hear that one has been quite useful in the cleanup efforts.
Then there should be no shortage of people that have it in abundance.
Fair enough. I'm sure Sabor can learn it. Well, it is going to be interesting. No longer living life on the sea.
Yeah,
To be
not that
honest,
bad.
I didn't think that this day would come for another 20, 30 years.
Anything else?
Penguin will be happy about it.
No.
Well, we'll see how she reacts to me being home every night.
Trust me. It's it's definitely a thing that happens. Onkin's pleased.
Say, even when you're home, you're not home.
I'm going to give it 2 months before she begs you to get out of the house.
Not that bad.
Or goes back to the Sultanate for a vacation.
Well, now that we no longer have problems with Saladin, I suppose Andel meeting his grandparents in the Sultanate would not be a horrible idea.
Hey, we're heroes. So like, why not?
Because there's a chance that they won't come back.
If you love it, let it go.
You know, it is a very short journey from Almiz to Witchwater.
It is, yes. But when you technically kidnap a princess, things happen.
Oh, I'm sure that's all water under the bridge by now.
Glad none of us were convicted of any crimes.
Something,
That-
statute of limitations.
No, statute of limitations, so I did some digging, especially with the crimes that were committed against me. Yeah, those are still valid, so I can't really go back to the Dominion for a
They
bit.
don't exist.
They...
Statute of limitations are modern.
That they are a very modern thing. I
It's only
don't
5 years for kidnapping,
think
actually.
that'll. Yeah, but how about kidnapping royalty?
I mean, that's execution on site, but it's just shit happens, you know.
Look, there's a reason I don't like going back to the Sultanate.
It's
I mean,
hot.
what are the chances that you'll get socked by 23 people again?
Probably
Look,
pretty high. Uno's a whore.
Ooh.
first of all, Saeynia,
You are a
I
whore.
wasn't punched by all those people for sleeping with them. Some of
Bullshit.
them I slept with. Some of them I slept with their, well, close familiar members. And you cannot blame me for things that I did in my youth.
I mean,
Excuse me?
that's kind of all you did for me.
You know-
Like, oh, Saeynia, you're a cunt. Well, I'm also a child.
You know, we're technically no longer a crew. Y'all aren't captain and navigator anymore. I think there's a monk
And-
pit somewhere.
Which one?
Ah, shit. We never did do that. Oh,
No,
shit. I'm not pregnant anymore. So we can do that.
Unanoa looks to Neridi and says, "You're the one that sold the tickets to you and Say.
Yeah, but you can also look just like me. I think it'll work.
I didn't know you were a coward, Neridi. Gonna pawn your dirty
Alright.
business off on someone else?
That's it. Let's go find it.
Ankin, take care of your kid. There you go.
Also, I think Say is like the worst grappler in the
I
entire
don't-
party.
I am awful at this.
I didn't expect us to come back up.
It's the
What was it
perfect
again?
closer.
Yeah, this is
Your
the
fucking mud
perfect
wrestling
closer.
pit.
Oh, dude, I did not even hear that. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Oh, grappling? No.
The
no,
mud
still-
wrestling
still,
thing
still didn't
from
get
like
it.
the 4th session. How long
At the
ago
mention
was
of mud
that?
wrestling pit, a bunch of the guys around you kind of look over. They start laughing.
Hmm. Hold up. Hold
One
up.
last bonding activity.
And I will
Someone say mud
say
wrestling?
yes, mud wrestling.
Oh,
And you
for
know
real?
what? Just so that we can make sure
I've
that
got 2
everything's-
gallons of oil. That's it.
Gotcha. And just so that we make sure everyone's enjoying themselves, the captain will pull from the bag of holding 2 bikinis.
Yeah. Uproarious applause.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
my brother's watching the stream.
one.
I don't need to fucking hear about this shit.
Too late.
Not my problem. Ugh.
And that's how we end the campaign. Say loses because I have the lowest strength and I'm a terrible grappler. And unless you guys, someone does get bashed with the shield at least once.
You don't have anything in the
You don't get the
pits.
shield.
You don't get anything.
It is
But
pure
You're
grappling.
misunderstanding the whole point of it.
I know, but I
However-
thought it'd be funny.
We do make more money in one night than we did in anything else.
I would say yes. It would bring quite a crowd of people.
And the captain still does not drink.
And I would say eventually, as the night goes on, it would get broken up by local authorities,
They can't do that.
Fine.
which is then
I'm-
going to lead into a chase scene.
I am a
It-
local treasure, and they're
As
just
it
gonna
gets
try to
broken
break
up-
up.
I would look to Sienna as, the Dragonborn are coming and just be like, I made a promise I'm not going to jail again, so...
One
call
last
it off."
chase.
Yep.
I bet I can I'll beat you on the way back. And she just fucking she zooms. I got 45 movement speed.
With started the chase, even Dominion soldiers who were helping out would join in, trying to help the chase. It would
Too
be
slippery, like a
it'd be a
grease
hell of a
pig.
night. You know, like one of them tries to grab, just pretty much falls face first into the dirt.
You're literally
Covered in-
trying to grab 2 greased up deaf guys.
Pretty much. Grease up, deaf guy.
And that's how we end the campaign. Woo!
So, who wants? I think that's if anyone has. Did that? Anyone got anything else? Do roleplay.
Nope.
Don't believe
When
so.
the law shows up to break everything down, does Krodorm pretend to be a carpenter? to
Krodorm.
get out again?
No, what you'll do is let me think. He would I don't think he would do the carpenter trick again. He would I guess he would. He would try it.
Does he
Probably
pretend to
fail.
be a bartender?
Sure, something like that. And then he'll see the one ever, or I guess one of the two only contacts he ever made, and one of them was a Dragonborn or a Draconic Republic guard, and she'll let him off the hook as the one favor she owes him.
Oh yeah, you lucky.
Yeah,
You did get that
as it all breaks down, it's just like they're about to go and arrest him, and then she's like, no, he's fine. They kind of direct their attention otherwise.
He's chill. He's chill.
He is a bartender.
All right. Who would like to start with your epilogue? If you don't, I guess if you don't want to read them, which I prefer if you did, can post them. But better if you read them. You don't even have to get the full thing. You give the abridged.
Mine isn't too expensive. Krodorm, after we had our fun in the last days of the capital, he'd say his goodbyes. Temporary goodbyes for some, and perhaps some others more permanent. Who knows? Depends on when they see, or if they see each other in the future. And he's going to, make his way to the meeting point with Mavis. Travel through the Arden Valley, begrudgingly to a degree, but with less apprehension than definitely 10 years prior, since he doesn't have to worry about anyone really recognizing him. Not too much. Well, maybe not at the same time. And he'll be with Mavis for a while. Will anything come of it? Probably not. It'll probably just be more of a kind of a mixed thing. Maybe something more will happen with it in the future, but for the time being, it's just a little bit more adventuring, but on land and not as, earth-shatteringly important as, slaying gods and angels and whatnot. And that he just sort of tries to make the most out of the life he is dealt.
All right. Right. Of life with living.
Definitely wouldn't worry about going back to Orabar anytime soon. And he'd probably end up casting the name off itself later on. Wouldn't even worry about saying that he might pick up something later on, but for the time being, it's just Krodorm.
All right. That all for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down the list, I guess. Ryan.
Alright. So after the final night at the bar and the culmination of that night,
Like that.
Neridi would spend the next couple months just helping Unanoa get sorted in the reconstruction of the capital. She'd do her best to kind of help console and support her in dealing with the loss of her parents and do what she could, but never been quite good with that. Leaving most of that support to England, who knows Unanoa much better than Neridi. Eventually, though, after probably a couple months of just helping with the reconstruction, trying to get the city back on task, events of the failed vampire coup in Eldon would reach her ears, and with the fallout of that, and the uncertainty of the status of her family, would prompt her to leave, heading back to Eldon. Knowing Unanoa's still busy dealing with her duty to the Republic, she would book passage and head back home after promising to keep in touch with everybody and write / call them as often as she could. But upon arriving home and finding out that all of her family were safe, seeing Mavis and Krodorm are just fine, and seeing the fallout of the vampire coup having taken control of the city of Calidrum, and pretty much being an isolated individual inside the Elven Lands government, and not much else having changed for the most part. She would be relieved that her family was alright, but ultimately feel out of place in her home now that the existence of vampires were known to be prevalent in the land, and a general dislike by most of the populace. She would see to it that Zofia made good on her word, restoring the wastelands of Eldon back to their lush and fertile roots. And once the land had been restored back to its origins, she would take it upon herself to lead a concerted effort to drive out the various factions that had taken up residence in the former wastelands, trying to get rid of all the various tribes of gnolls, ogres, and goblins that had taken their birthplace from the elves, by pretty much cashing in all her political capital and favors to ensure that the land of Eldon was once again a land and country of elves for all variants and cultures, as it had been in its olden days. She periodically keep in contact with Unanoa S and the rest of the crew, using her dragon stones and writing letters if needed, but much like how was discussed in that last day in the tavern of the Fish and Donuts, she had finished her day sailing the seas with the crew of the Fairy Queen. Her home had just too much work to be done to set it straight again, and much like all the other projects she had done, she would throw herself fully into it until she saw it to completion. However, despite working through that in her free time, she would ultimately continue and complete her research and creating a brand new spell. Having created a spell to transmute a person from their race of origin into any of the various types of elves, albeit with a larger margin of the percentage skewing towards high elves to fix their population problem. She would distribute the knowledge of how to cast a spell out to as many of her kind as cared to learn it, and make note or recommendation that any people that wish to settle into the new remade Eldon be advised to see if they wanted to take the gift and become an elf. To make Eldon secure.
That all for me.
Yeah, pretty much after that, and once Eldon was pretty much taken care of, Neridi would simply vanish. After, I'm assuming this would have taken close to about a year, maybe a little more, but for everything she had done, it would be much, much harder for her to hide her secret of being a vampire. And given the distaste that most of the populace has for them, she would end up renouncing her claim to the Hawk Lordship in favor of her sister Mavis, due to her work in finding the Crown of Uriel, and it ultimately being what restored Eldon to its new glory. But as after leaving, she would attempt to reconnect with Unanoa and basically keep tabs on everything from the island of Witchwater, using her information network to keep up to date with various goings on in the world.
Nice, nice. Who missed would like to go? Probably Requiem.
Yep. So, what Noah would do is, after figuratively handing the keys over to Buckler, she would settle quite quickly into joining the Republic's government, more than likely taking on her Dragonborn persona as her main persona for the time being, to rebuild the capital, as well as securing a military alliance between, at the very least, the Sultanate, the Republic, and the Ustanians, considering that they are the three closest to the Dominion, and if possible, trying to get the Elves to participate in the alliance as well, considering the strife that they'd be going to. Because I feel like it would be very common knowledge about the vampire coup after a certain amount of time. During the time, she would have a teleportation circle installed onto Witchwater, so that she can quickly go between the two places. Though after the Republic is fully on the way to rebuilding and she's no longer necessary, she would start a new journey and seek out the Seeker to see if he would be able to shed light on the cure to the changeling condition. And more than likely, she'd probably spend about upwards to 20 years or so on that, occasionally coming back to Witchwater whenever she found a place that had teleportation circles, so that she could quickly go back and forth. Then, after all of Unanoa's responsibilities have effectively disappeared, she would fully take on the persona of Unalor, which had been created for as for the Elven lands and use it as a form of being an ambassador between the elves and the Republic. Using Witchwater as his domain to a degree.
Okay. 2 degree. Saeynia.
Like immediately after like that night, Say essentially returns to Witchwater. Like she keeps true to her word. This isn't her country. None of these are her fights. A lot of it has to do with the doomsday prophecy her mother had about Say. And Say was kind of, and Saeynia having an important role in it was correct. But the thing about it is, with the prophecy and everything, it was lost in translation with Lysana's version. So once she returns to Witchwater, she just devotes all of her time for the next 18 months to raising Ellie once she's weaned and trying to actually be a good parent, unlike Lysana. And for Say, every day is a little better, and Say starts to like heal from the trauma and like watching her daughter grow up with everything she never got to have, enjoying the first of being a new parent. She's not the best, because Say's not really good at anything, but like she tries and she does love her and makes a genuine effort. As Ellie gets bigger, her spider sorcerer powers grow, because this is, and it kind of freaks Say out because it's just another thing that Lysana was right on. Life is good for a while, other than like Saeynia going on small adventures to help clean up the ruins of the city, delving deeper into the exploration of Witchwater and like the other surrounding keys. Once the war breaks out, Say shelters, despite the active longing for adventure, again, just because Onken wants it, and the rest of you have ties. As like the war ends, word comes, Lysana has actually gathered quite a large following and managed to create an actual alliance with the Order of Mutants despite everything. Her work in blood magic has been fruitful, and outsiders outside of the Blood Hunter Order actually follow her due to the accuracy of her prophecies. And they've become like a decent sized rebellion. And fuck, I forgot how to read. So they essentially wreak havoc wherever they go. Lysana's people go, picking off, scavenging the land from whatever remains of the leftovers of the war. Lysana manages to sneak a few of her advisors into Witchwater, but Saeynia knew they'd come. They always come back. Saeynia slaughters most of the messengers because they are unwilling to change their ways, and leaves a third to return her mom with a message: meet me here, or do not meet me at all. I am no longer your child to be given orders and follow blindly. Lysana keeps sending more people. More people are slaughtered. But Say's message stays the same the entire time. Like, we are not having this discussion unless you actually meet me in person. After like years of this, Lysana eventually comes to Witchwater after, about a year or two of Say's silence. She's amused by this because her stubborn daughter, who used to be the whole anything you want, I'll do for you, it doesn't matter who gets hurt. By this time, Ellie's actually probably like grown up in quotation marks. She's probably like 16.
Cute Buffy the
Who
Vampire Slayer.
What?
Cute Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Say was always Say the way Say parents is like, I'm going to take you with me once you're old enough. So she probably started dragging Ellie around once she was like 10. Wherever Say go, like the kid Ellie went. So the fight that breaks out between Say and Lysana is bloody. Saeynia is actually infected with uncurable lycanthropy, and Lysana dies. And both Ellie and Say just bury her. And as they bury her, like Say realizes I can't keep running from this over and over. And despite like Say doing everything and like saving the world, there's more work to be done. And like it kind of hurts her like, okay, Unanoa and Neridi, like they had duties. It hits her like this is now my duty. I have to take care of this. So the day after they bury her, Say and Lestrea pick up their weapons. Say gifts Lestrea the scimitar. She takes her rapier and leave Witchwater on more often than not to go follow the Game Master's path and the goals because death to all tyrants. She eventually keeps her promise back to Ellie, takes her back to Kalmir. Does end up with a drow dozen of kids, just because she's dumb. But, like, she waits. She does what, like, Neridi says. Grows up. Most of her children end up clerics or paladins, even though 9 out of 10 of them end up sorcerers. She actually, like, puts conscience and effort into raising her family, managing to get over the trauma. And with the amount of kids she actually has, she ends up essentially with her own adventuring party. Because they just kind of follow along. And that's essentially what Say does for the rest of her life. Adventuring and getting rid of cults and tyrants. With, you know, like half a dozen kids. At any given time.
Right.
I'd like to add one final thing. Neridi would keep tabs on everybody's movements throughout the years until they ultimately pass away. Having kept a complete collection and pretty much compendium of their lives, making a biology biography for each and every one of them.
Geology.
Yes.
Necromancy.
Yeah, depending on how the
I
sequel
thought it was
turned
more
out,
nefarious.
would've-
I outlived them, outlived him, outlived him.
Do you like keep Say's promise that Say just wanted you to watch over her offspring? The numerous offspring.
As long as they
There's
don't
like
cause
13
problems for
of them.
Witchwater. Yes.
Other
I
than
mean,
like Say actually raising them. Cause she's
depending
raising a
on,
bunch of mini Says.
I think that they'll probably not be mini says considering that they'll
Okay.
be
They're mini
that it'll be
Says without the
Witchwater.
trauma.
I'll just ask for my own epilogue clarity real quick.
Sure.
Is Serena into threesomes?
Your biography reads.
Sure, Krodorm, sure. Ah, God damn it.
What's up, Brian?
I said your biography is Krodorm Orabar, the first dwarven oil baron.
You motherfucker.
Yeah, but no, Say actually does. Well, once Neridi is no longer at Kalmir and she keeps her promise, like, there's no reason to get back. You can have better medical care on, like, back at Witchwater.
Yeah. I mean, depending on how Unanoa's solo adventure fight trying to find the Seeker went, you might be stuck with Unanoa for a while.
Seeker. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, but we're leaving that one up to GM to use eventually when 3,000 years later there's still a Neridi and Unanoa.
A game 10,000 years in the future.
Don't-
I used to
don't ask-
adventure.
Shit, isn't there like a thing with paladins? Like I eventually ascend or some shit? I don't know how
No.
paladins work.
No, that's Druid and Monk are the ones that do that.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
By the way, Krodorm. How does Krodorm react to Mavis eventually becoming essentially royalty? Like, a fucking queen.
Hmm. It'd probably be more like, well, shit. She can't leave Calmere anymore. Or at least not a lot. So maybe you'd either. You'd probably just keep on going, keep on just kind of travel the world. Would probably be his ultimate thing, just finding kind of the next big thing to do. Might go back, after, if she's more tethered down to her duties, he's like, well, I don't want to, he wouldn't want to continuously try and tear her away from that, even though he might have reserved feelings, but he'd probably just go around, maybe see what this Caleb individual's offer was about, maybe partake in that for a while, just kind of live life.
Caleb's offer was you and a bunch of other highly experienced adventurers going directly into that godforsaken wasteland to do some.
Yeah,
He would put it as house cleaning.
It could be that, or it's just gonna be drifting around.
Krodorm's remaining 10 levels are Astral Monk.
So,
My wisdom.
my wisdom. I think all that looks great. Actually, I can go read off some. See, this is very simple, but I'll do it for him. Where the fuck is this thing? There it is. Basically, what he ended up telling me is I'm gonna try and fill in some blanks. Is he'll spend some time with you guys, but eventually he would join directly into the Dragonborn military itself when the captain fully steps down, spending some time with the military. Eventually, he specifies his ages too. At the age of 27, he would meet a woman, I assume a Dragonborn, by the name of Yitten. So
He does make the weirdest names for the fact that
Yimtin Sovre. He's the name generators.
yeah.
He would date her for a while. Eventually, would get married. End up having 3 kids at the age of 35. 4 kids at 35. We'd have 3 and 4. Math is weird there. That's all he has for the ending. Is him living happily with his family.
Oh, there was one thing I did forget to mention.
How old is Sabor?
I don't know.
There's one thing I did forget to mention. She just ends up like, especially with having like all these kids, she ends up almost having like sort of a training paladin ground on like near the lighthouse that we eventually build.
Because depending on how old Sabor is, we've been like dragging around like a
20.
19-year-old,
He,
a 20-year,
Yeah, he's 20.
prodigy.
You've been dragging along a 20-year-old.
He's a 20-year-old. He's basically a prodigy wizard, and we've been treating him like a fucking kid.
So I'm going to unlock an important shit. I have a good chunk of the lore done for you guys. You can. I gotta say your permissions real quick. I haven't fully gone. I'm still editing some things.
Solana, Boltree.
I will get to that in a second here. Thank you for the reminder. But I'll unlock the channel. Enjoy the giant fucking text speech, which includes the War of the Dominion for the first part. Alright, let me go to our 3 favorite NPCs. Starting off with Boltree. Boltree and Saladin would remain married and would spend a great deal of their time in Witchwater. I would imagine in that situation they'd be helping Sienna out when they can. In her little lovely war, because Boltry typically likes to help out. But they would also, the two of them, despite getting back together fully, would decide not to have children after what happened to the previous two, and they didn't want to bring up bad memories. Decided just to live their lives. But due to the possession of Celadon for so long, her body began to rapidly deteriorate, and only about 20 years she would end up fully passing away, refusing any sort of aid. And even refusing the ring that she gave to Boltry, the Ring of Immortality, telling him that's her gift to him. Boltry would not spend very much longer in Witchwater after he would deal burying his wife. He would go and visit Ube and Solana, but he would eventually turn back to his old ways of crime, going back to doing heists and job opportunities. And generally something he enjoyed was being a thief. Something he found great pride in his own works. With the Ring of Immortality, Boltry would just spend as much time as he wants, going to various cities, lands, and nations, and stealing what he wanted, selling it, and doing force, and just generally being a giant nuisance like he likes to be. Export and selling his information to the highest bidder at some points. Sometime eventually disappearing into the shadows. Even becoming a whisperer among thieves as a legendary reacher. Ube and Solana. These two would remain faithful to each other, and after another 3 years after the events of the Tower, would get married. They would be inviting all their former crewmates. All of you would get an invite to the grand wedding, which is not really grand, it's simple. Ube is Ube and Solana. Ube is a very simple man, and Solana doesn't want lavish. They would have it back at Solana's home, the island. I forget the name for it on top of my head. Those of you that do attend, granted, be there at the wedding. They would spend some time together and eventually go on traveling again, doing odd jobs and even helping another group of heroes in the Valerian League at some point. But after a number of years, they would end up having a daughter. They would name Lemaire, meaning starlight in Elvish. Ube, being found a new dad, would pick a safer line of work and end up working in Dominion docks as a shipwright. Solana would use her own expertise and form her own little artisan shop, produce her fine works of art for travelers. A simple life for the both of them and their daughter, Lemaire, whom they would raise. Mr. Buckler. Buckler would end up staying with the Republic for a time, and with him becoming the newfound captain, the Fairy Queen would do a number of odd jobs of selling merchant and just being generally selling merchant goods across the areas. But once the War of the Dominion breaks out, he would enlist the ship immediately on the side of the Republic, knowing what raft the Dominion can unfurl. Due to Buckler's history of being a former Dominion captain, he would use their own tactics against them, and would eventually catch the eye of Alexandra, who would put his knowledge to great use working alongside him. The two of them would form quite an effective duo, with Buckler informing her of Dominion tactics typically in the Navy, and allowing Alexandra to exploit that information. But eventually the Dominion was smart enough to the fact that their own tactics were being used against them, and eventually work as well. A few years in the war, though, Buckler would end up getting his left leg taken out by a rogue cannonball in the midst of a broadside, effectively putting him out of action. He would return back to a military hospital and would recover, and even being granted a prosthetic leg. But he would retire from the military service due to the number of other wounds he would suffer. After the war, Buckler would work with other captains and would find other work working alongside other captains, and instead of his selling goods and all this cross-lane. But eventually, he would decide to head east into the strange fog and wanting to explore. With a crew of adventurous people who want to do the same, Buckler and his crew would disappear into the fog, never to be seen from again. Who knows what they found on the side? Fitting ends for all the characters there. Any comments on that?
Only one child? That's rookie numbers.
You'd be
Shame we
glad
never
you
get to
got
see
one.
Elves, say elves.
It'd be a
Yeah,
half elf.
Say ends up with 13
Yeah,
I
and
did. There was
Yeah, it's
Solana's
an
not very
elf
big
and
on
a
children
human.
either.
There's
It's an elf and a human.
Yes.
it's a shame we never got to see the what the sea dogs interact
Yeah.
with Buckler.
Oh yeah, I
At
forgot.
the very
about that.
beginning,
Yeah.
he's like, "They're gonna get us. They're gonna kill us."
They were on the list of things, but their dice roll never fell on them.
Yeah.
What happened to Darren?
You'll find that out next game.
We'll find out in the
So,
next campaign.
This next campaign will take off. We'll take the 30 years after this one. I'll be set up a new calendar because it actually, due to the events of the tower, this starts a new age. I think this is the 13th, which is really just me making a version of the calendar with a different number. Yeah, it's the 12th age right now. It'd be the 13th, but because of the events of the tower, that is a big thing. Due to the events of the tower, that tower created a giant hole in the crystal that basically surrounds the world. This hole made Imperial's defenses weakened, so anyone could enter into this plane. Despite your heroics, there were some cons to that. Let me actually read some of the lore off for you guys. I'll find it real quick. The tower incident. Following the incident, yada yada, but severely damaged. Both glass and cobalite appeared across the world in large amounts. This concerned many nations, and the following decade would be very chaotic, but it would eventually sort itself out. The tower had also been, it's torn a hole in the world's crystal. Anyone could enter the plane with no issues. Imperial's defenses have been destroyed. All sorts of creatures use this chance to get into the plane and cause havoc. Angelic forces work tirelessly to stop this and hunt down these threats, which is what Miak was. He's basically, his job was to make sure anything that wasn't supposed to be there is dealt with.
When
So-
did Rocco come back?
Shut up. Do not make me bring her back. I will
Somehow,
not.
Rauka returned.
So,
Can't kill her. Yes, Rockrim.
I was gonna say somehow Magna returned.
So, at this point, you have the official go-ahead. Start working on backstories. I'm going to be filling out the city information because I had to scrap the original idea because I realized there were so many issues with that map. We were designing that map as a moron.
Why? Because the city was a square?
No, the river. It bugged me. The river went up.
All these squares make a circle.
I mean, the Nile goes up.
No, you understand. It went up a cliff. But
Oh,
the design was very wonky to me, and it bugged my eyes.
interesting.
So I found a better one I liked.
Alright. Well,
What the hell is that you just sent me, Say?
That's my backstory that I
Right,
wrote.
you started early.
Because,
Despite my...
alright. With that, we will call it here for today. For those of you who joined us for this entire campaign, we thank you so very much. As always, have a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are. And if you enjoyed the music, please support us and support our artists by subscribing and clicking that like button and ring the notification bell to get notified when the next campaign comes out. Until next time, stay frosty. And as always, thank you.
With your thumbs and tears for touch, you draw me from dust and turn me into such. All you granted me